heart attack. Fast fatal heart impact. Past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions. Fact, don't ask. Grab reactions. Jacked attack with every word. Then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused. Call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new submerged juice. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now. Y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, quite a lot has happened. In the last part, the plan to attack the pit, it kinda messed up. Right now the pit, it attacked back. One thing that our survivors massively underestimated was the pit's abilities. It sent out a new type of rhino to fight them. However, after taking it down, and the zero-pointer attacking the hospital, it collapsed, and a new variant was discovered. The pit. And, so far it is the biggest threat to the entire city. It completely swallowed the zero-pointer, and then sent out a gas to attack people around the area. Now, Deku was one of the people hit by this gas, and he started to hear the voice of the pit in his head. Along with that, there was the fact that many other people, they started to have strange visions, and Kendo, she collapsed. Now, Deku and everybody here, they are trying to evacuate and escape. And we do currently have where Deku, he does pull up to the gates of the Yaoyorozu mansion. The gates being opened up by the people who are left inside. And right now, whenever they do get brought inside, and people, they do come over to find out what's going on, Deku, he would explain. People heard the commotion from the radios. They heard people dying and getting slaughtered. Along with that shaking, they felt it from here. And it does slightly unnerve them. They thought that the nuke went off. However, they didn't see any smoke in the air. At least, not as much as they expected. Now, we do have where Deku is going to pull the car up to the Yaoyorozu mansion staircase. And whenever he does going to throw the car in a park, he does going to get out. As whenever Momo does so as well, Deku does go to throw open the back seat and go to grab onto Kendo. Him grabbing her as they start to carry her up the staircase. And right now we do have from Deku's point of view. As he is climbing the stairs, with Kendo in his arms, there actually is the person he was seeing next to him. He knows that they're dead. However, the pit, right now it is using them as a way to communicate with him. As Deku, he does have Kirishima on his right. And he looks exactly like he did after Deku drove his blade into him. The way his face looked. And, the bloody wound. You know you can't save her, right? Shut up. Oh, come on. I know it as well. You can't save her and your baby. You're both gonna die. It's only a matter of time. I know exactly where you are. I know how to kill you. Now, Momota's gonna open the door. And Deku, he does gonna walk inside and say again, shut up. Now, we do have where Deku, he does get to the medical office. Or at least a room they've designated this area to be. And whenever Deku does go to walk inside, he's gonna lay Kendo down. Momo, she is there. And right now the doctors come walking over, asking what happened. And Momo will begin to explain. Now, the doctor is very worried. And right now they do go to look over to Deku. And right now they can tell his panic. He must know about it then. At least, no, he's just panicking. From what she heard, the operation didn't go well. Now, the doctor does begin at least trying to explain, as she was going to try and check her vitals and monitor exactly what's going on. And right now, Kendo, she does appear to be catatonic. Now, the doctor, after this has happened, she does get at least talk to both of these two, trying to understand more about what happened. And we do actually have Deku. While he is trying to talk to the doctor, there is actually where he does get to see Kirishima right behind her. And right now, he is just standing there, with a smile on his face. and the doctor can tell that Deku he's slightly unnerved by something. Excuse me, are you alright? Huh? No. Sorry. It's, we were hit by something. A strange gas. I'm seeing things. They're everywhere. Could you describe what you're seeing? I'd rather not. I'm. Jesus. I'm hearing it. I'm seeing it. I just. My head. I'm trying to stay focused, but I feel like I'm going insane. Now, Momo, she doesn't understand what Deku's talking about. She was feeling something in the back of her head, and she thought that she did have eyes on her. She did breathe in a bit of the gas. However, by the time she got downstairs with Kendo, it already diluted to a certain point. It was still in the air, just not as potent as before. Most of the gas had time to dissolve or blow away into the wind. Now, Momo should at least express the feeling she does have. She feels like she is on edge, and right now, she doesn't feel comfortable, even though she's in her own home. Now, the doctor, they do gotta note that down. As for right now, they're trying to understand a bit more about the phenomenon. And when that does actually happen, you do have what the doctor does want to pull Deku aside and just explain a few things about Kendo's condition to him. Now, when the doctor does go to pull Deku aside, she does try to reveal to Deku about what's going on with Kendo. However, Deku, he does explain to the doctor that he already knows that she's pregnant. Now, the doctor, they're quite surprised. And after Deku does try to at least brush us off and talk to her, he does want to know exactly what they're dealing with. Because right now, Kendo, she's unconscious. And from what Momo said, the doctor is cutting him off, expressing that she doesn't understand. She believes that this is connected to the pit as well. However, for right now, there is no real way to verify. So, what they need to do right now is to keep her stable. They just need to make sure she's okay. And eventually she might wake up on her own. If that doesn't happen, she may be asleep for some time. More than likely, she has suffered some sort of brain trauma. And she needs to heal on her own. That's all they can really do. Make sure she has a place to stay and keep safe. Now, Deku, while he might be annoyed by this, he doesn't understand. While that's going on with Kendo, we do have other people inside the city. The people who managed to escape or get away from the gas or being affected, they headed back to their own settlements and tried to explain what was happening. Some people thought that they may have been crazy, but other people in the settlement, they saw what the hell happened. There's no other way to explain the ground shaking and the loud, ear-piercing screams they heard. The type that shattered windows from miles away. Now, people started to pack up and leave. And where was the only safe place they can think of that was nowhere close to the heart of the city? The Yaoyuza mansion, led by the group who put this assault together. So right now, they're gonna head there and try to seek refuge, because this is all their fault. Now, right now a few people do come pulling up to the gates, and they brought everything they can carry in resources and supplies. And they are trying to seek shelter in exchange for handing these over. Now, Deku, he does allow these people inside. And right now, they're all trying to understand what's happening. As whenever a lot of people start pulling up and being allowed inside, they do try to somewhat talk to Deku. And Deku is currently staying outside, trying to explain what he can to everybody else. As right now, everybody, they are all screaming and shouting. And they're at least trying to blame Deku for what happened today. Deku, he is the entire reason why that thing is active. His entire group, they did this by using the zero pointer. And he needs to know. What he's done could have killed all of them. Because right now, some of them, they're losing their fucking minds. They hear things inside their minds. And they don't know what it is. Now, while everybody they are doing so, they're actually whenever another vehicle does come pulling up. It driving through the gate and being allowed to park. As whenever it does so, a few people do come to get out. As there is whenever Overhaul, he does get out and they're going to turn and open the back door. As Ariado's going to step out, and Overhaul, he does going to look around. Right now he's trying to look for the leader. And there actually is whenever a man who does have some facial hair, he can be seen with an eye patch, a robotic arm, and, well, a few people around him. Him trying to bring up his hands to calm everybody down. Before he finally is going to look a bit angry and going to grit his teeth. Before reaching down for his own gun and then going to put it up into the air. Him finally firing it off as everybody is going to go silent. Now, Overhaul, he would go to see that. As Deku does begin to explain, everybody calm the hell down. Deku putting his gun back into the holster on his belt. As he does begin to talk, right now, their plan, it went wrong. However, there needs to be a backup plan. Right now, everybody who was affected by the gas, they're going to need to see their doctor. He himself was hit by the gas, and he understands that they may be seeing things. Maybe they're seeing loved ones who died. Maybe they're seeing infected. They're hearing voices, he knows that much. And if they are seeing dead people, be aware, he's seeing his dead best friend. So they need to all know. They were just as much affected by this as everybody else. So none of them have any fucking right to complain. Now, a lot of people are annoyed. And some people, they do at least try to ask Deku questions about what he's going to do now. And if he's going to allow them to stay there. And Deku does begin to speak, expressing to many that they are allowed to seek refuge here. He understands that a lot of people, they've lost their lives. Right now, they're going to try and do a bit of a count. And they need to know. If they're from another camp, they need to count that camp. Find out who came from their areas, and they'll find out who was here originally. They need at least an accurate measurement of the body count before they do go forwards. Right now, he's going to talk to somebody and see if they can find out anything. Because that bomb, it was swallowed directly into the nest. And there still may be a shot at saving the entire city. The pit can't move. The entrances and exits, they're all sealed off. Anything that is down there can't get out unless the pit spits it out. They need to know that much. Now, some people, they do begin to calm down. However, they are still somewhat in a bit of a, well, rally, you could say, or a frenzy. However, right now, the flames are dying down a bit. And we do actually have Overhaul, who right now he is carrying Eri on his back. As when he does come to walk up, he does go directly see Deku. Himmy is going to shout and ask if he can have a word. Now, Deku is going to turn to see this man, as his eyes just went wide whenever he does see a young girl on his back with a horn. And he's surprised. That's a quirk, isn't it? I mean, it has to be. Well, there are some people here with certain, well, things attached to their bodies that aren't normal. They're still alive. Okay. Alright, listen. We can talk for a second, but please make it very quick. Deku just say, him somewhat trying to calm down. However, there actually is the pit still talking to him. It directly next to Deku, and at least going to bring its hands up. Trying to talk to Deku about how it's never going to work. Their plans, they're always going to be failing. And if they do try to come kill it, then he will kill them. It will come after them. There is no other option. They need to just come to the hospital and join it. Joining it will be the simplest way. Joining it will make it go away. Now, overall, he does begin to explain, introducing himself as Chizuki and explaining that he is from another city. Him and this group of people traveled to this camp. And then whenever they stayed there for some time, they actually heard about his group. He does understand a few things about it. However, he's going to cut straight to the chase. Is David Shield with their group? Now, Deku, he does going to confirm this. And he does at least try to explain that David Shield has gone through some drastic changes, though. And overall, he does go look down at Deku's metal arm. as he does think that that is what Deku does mean. Listen, I understand a lot of things have happened in the last, ever since it started. But right now, I need to speak with him. I'm a doctor myself. In fact, I'm a bit more of a scientist. I want to share my research with him, show him what I have. Maybe if we put together what I have and he has, we can come to some sort of middle ground with a cure. At least some way to inoculate people, make them immune to the effects. If we can do that, we can at least stop the infection from spreading. Is that alright? Please, listen to me. This is a matter of life or death for the human race. Now, Deku is very surprised. As whenever Overhaul he is going to throw his hand backwards and upwards, Deku does watch it somewhat roll backwards, as he does see a few bite marks on the man's left arm. And Overhaul he is going to somewhat bring his hand up and throw it back down, as Deku does try to at least explain to him that the bites don't cause infection. Him and his group do know that, and do come along. Now, this is actually where Chisaki is going to set Eri down. And he does tell her that she needs to stay close to him right now, because this is a place they don't know. And she actually is going to take his hand as both the two do go walking with Deku. As when they do go to arrive to a room, Deku is going to knock on the door. As when May does come to open the door, you do actually have Melissa, who she's going to turn and the man is going to look directly at her, asking her if David Shield's here. Now, Melissa would at least try to explain. It probably would be best to leave the kid outside. Chisaki, he would go to somewhat go against this, expressing to them that Eri, she does not leave his side. Right now, he is protecting her. And he wants to talk to David's shield because it has something to do with both Eri and the possibility of finding a cure. Now, Deku, he does somewhat hear that, and he is going to ask exactly what he does mean. As Chisaki would go to explain, he is not going to hide it. He understands that while some of them may view him as evil, they need to know. Before everything happened, he was doing experiments to try to prevent Quark Singularity. And from what he does understand, after the outbreak, he continued these experiments. He tried to expose the infected to cures using Eri's blood. And afterwards, he began to start seeing some mixed results. Now, a few people are confused. However, Deku doesn't begin to understand. Him stepping forward towards Chisaki and going to grab onto him. Him asking why he would do that to his own daughter. Listen, Eri isn't my daughter. She was my boss's daughter. And it's harder to explain. She was my boss's granddaughter, okay? She lost both of her parents. I was left to care for her. And she has a special ability. You can't even begin to understand it. She has powers that they defy logic. She can destroy things with a touch, rewind them out of existence. I don't understand it myself, but upon researching it, her blood can be used to make somebody quirkless. Now, Deku's quite surprised, along with even Melissa's shield. And there actually is whenever David Shield's voice is going to cut in, as Chisaki is going to hear in a robotic voice about how that is quite strange. Him confused, as Melissa she's going to walk over and grab onto David Shield's brain in a jar. Her walking back out with it, as Chisaki, he does take a second to try and process that. Brain in a jar. What the fuck? Now, after Chisaki's initial reaction, there is actually Eri, who when she's going to look at it, she's going to look away. Her thinking that it's actually pretty creepy, as she's currently facing away and looking back towards Deku, who she can see that he does have a metallic arm, and she is somewhat confused by that. Now, Whenever she is going to look directly at Deku, Deku is going to look towards her. As she actually is going to bring her hand up to somewhat wave nervously. And Deku is going to bring up his metal arm. As he is going to wave himself. Now, Chisaki and David's shield. They do someone going to talk. And Chisaki does learn that Deku, he was formerly quirkless. However, he gained All Might's powers. And right now, hearing about that shows something. Deku was initially quirkless. However, he exposed himself to the substance that mutated humanity. And that is very interesting. He's seen the results after somebody was turned quirkless. Because of some of his other, let's just call them experiments. Now, he's never seen about the results before and after. I mean, the situation is flipped. Instead of them having a quirk when they were human and being reverted to quirkless, there is the fact that they'd be quirkless and then, well, turned into a quirked person. Now, they do somewhat try to realize something. Deku may have tried to use his abilities, and that's why he must have a robotic arm. So, even he was not immune. That doesn't do too good for their research. That being what Chisaki does think. And right on David's shield, him and Chisaki, they do just won't talk more in detail. As Melissa, she actually does talk about how she'll take Eri to get something to eat, ask her if she is hungry. And Eri, while she does get a somewhat nod, she does going to try and explain. They'll find something for her to eat right now. And then, they can at least find a place for her to stay. Since she does seem to, well, need to change the clothes and a shower. Now, Eri just going to agree. As Chisaki, he does try to explain a few things. Now, there actually is one for Deku. He does going to try and gain back favor with everybody. Everybody, they did a head count. And right now, Deku's group did a head count. They had somewhere around 20 or so people. Their initial group was higher than that. And right now, there is the fact that only 5 people remained behind to guard this place. So, there are only 15 people who survived. It's a heavy blow. And right now there are actually other groups. While they do a head count, they do find similar numbers. It seems like a lot of people who may have joined the attack, they may have died. And right now, the rest of the people here, they're looking at a good, let's just say somewhere between 200 or 300 people. And that is beginning to be a bit of a problem. While there is plenty of land here, Deku isn't too sure exactly if there'll be enough resources to go around. While some people have brought their own things, the fact is, harvesting resources from the land, they are going to be a lot more difficult. They're going to need to expand their farms if they can accommodate this many people. And then there's the fact that the mansion, it is relatively empty here and there. However, making accommodations for, let's just say, somewhere around 180, 280 people, that's going to be a bit more challenging. Especially because they'd have to clear out some of the rooms that used to have owners. Now, with that, Deku, he does at least try to acknowledge a few things. And expressing to people that right now, they need to at least set up areas outside. And for right now, they may have to live in tents until they can at least get the situation resolved. And find proper rooms for them. Now, Deku is going to try and take a break. As currently, he does sit down. And Kirishima, he is directly to his right, and Deku, he is trying to focus a bit more. Trying to at least get this voice to shut up. As there is actually one of Bakugo that's going to pop up on his left. I told you, shut up. You're getting too loud. You're getting too annoying. Well, Deku, that's pretty obvious. Deku turning his head. Fuck. Bakugo, are you serious? You're using him. Why, of course. I mean, it's quite simple. one of the, if not the first person you've ever murdered who wasn't infected, right? Seems like an obvious choice if I'm going to mess with you. Yeah, Kirishima to say. Him leaning forwards and beginning to express. And then his best friend. Well, his brother, basically, right? The one he had to put down in self-defense. The one who lost his mind. They're both people Deku knew. Or would he rather talk to his mother? Now, Deku is going to freeze hearing that. And then actually whenever Nana Shimura, she's going to pop up. Her is going to tell Deku to look right at her. Deku looking up to her before she's going to tell her to focus on, tell him to focus on her. And Deku is going to do so. Listen, kid, there's a bit of a problem. Whatever is going on, I think One For All is reacting to it. Listen, I don't know what to say, but for right now, be a bit careful. Something's strange happening here. Besides, you need to make a bit more of a plan. A plan for what? My girlfriend might be in a coma. I'm seeing dead people. And right now, the city, it might be littered with infected from the nest. We don't know what's happening there. I understand, Izuku. However, right now, you need to try and stay focused. Listen, illusions or not, you still have a plan, do you not? I do, Nana. However, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because I have one idea, but I don't like it. It's a suicide mission. But right now, this is all my fault. I should have thought about it more. I should have realized something was off with the fucking pit. It just made sense. There are certain tendrils that may not fit through subway tunnels. I mean, the way those walls looked, whenever we got closer to the nest. I mean, the holes, the pathways, they were obviously carved out. We should have expected this. We overlooked it. I overlooked it. And right now, my girlfriend might die. My baby might die. Now, Deku is going to bring his hands up to his head. As their eyes actually remember, tears do start to form in his eye. Right now, Deku, he has one idea. He needs to go solve this problem on his own. If he can save people by destroying the nest on his own, then there may be a chance that Kendo can survive. Maybe if he takes it out, the visions will stop. It's the only solution. That thing is controlling them this way. If it dies, maybe it won't be able to control them. It's sentience, and sentience comes from a brain. People are sentient, so they have brains. Or, no, wait. The logic there is right, but he's thinking about it wrong. Okay. The hive is sentient. To have sentience, there needs to be something to control it. A brain of sorts. So that's what he needs to do. He needs to find the hive's brain and take it out. Okay, but the zero pointer would be big enough. If he goes down there and takes it out, maybe uses a gas truck to light it on fire. Maybe he can spread enough flames to heat up the zero pointer. Get its core to go into meltdown. If that happens, then it will blow up. Okay, so that is a plan, but shit. To operate the trucks, you need a crew of at least 3. You need to be able to throw the hose down into the hole and then turn it on. I mean, that's the fastest method. He would need either 2 people's help or to be fast with it. Okay. What can he do? This more Deku to try to focus. And right now, he does at least have a few things going through his mind. This, it might be a suicide mission. He might get himself killed if he tries to do this on his own. Should he try to reach out? Should he even do something? Now, Deku does try to focus. As there actually is over his radio, just got a world life, and somebody they do go to call his name. And Deku is going to reach down for his radio and grab onto it, as he's going to ask what's going on. Before Deku just go bursting into the room, he ran through the entire mansion. And right now, whenever Deku's going to bust into the room, there is actually where the doctor, she is trying to at least tell somebody to hold down Kendo's legs, because she is in trouble. Now, Deku is just going to run over, as they're actually going over somebody they are currently holding a metal piece into Kendo's mouth. And Kendo, she is repeatedly trying to snap her face as if they were jaws. Now, Deku is going to look at this, trying to understand what's going on before the nest does at least inform him. Izuku. What? Izuku, it's no use. I'll kill her. Join me. Join me. Join me and she may live. I won't make her bite off her own tongue, harm herself. Or I won't drive her to kill herself. Now, Deku is going to freeze, hearing that. As their actions over, Deku is going to ask it to stop. Please just stop. And Kendo, she actually is going to somewhat look around the room quickly. Her actually stopping the biting, as whenever she's going to look directly towards Deku, she's going to stare right at him. And her eyes, they do look almost strange. They're taking on a yellow glow. And Deku is going to watch as Kendo, she immediately is going to have her eyes roll backwards in her head before falling backwards, her head landing onto the pillow. And Deku is going to stare at that. Izuku, what will it be? Join me or she dies. You know what you have to do. I want you to join me. That power of yours, I could certainly make many things out of it. I could rip you apart and put you back together. Turn you into a monstrous creation. Turn you into something beautiful. Something that hungers. Something that must feed. Something that could lead my armies. Something that can hunger for more. Now, Deku, he just goes stare directly down at his hands. As whenever he does try to think about what to do, he does make a decision. As whenever he does have that look on his face, he is going to turn and walk away. And right now, there is actually whenever Deku is going to walk out of the room, and Chisaki is standing there. As he's going to try and stop Deku to ask him a few questions. Listen, right now I don't have time to talk. I need to go stop the nest. Okay, hey, stop. Listen, I want to talk to you for a minute. Talk to me about what? Listen, I understand your strange predicament, but how do I even explain it? Okay, I'm going to cut to the chase. Him reaching down into his pockets and going to pull something out. As it does look like a small blue bullet with a needle attached to the end of it. It's strange. What is that? It's an experimental cure. The latest version of it. I talked to David Shield, and from what he does understand, his cure, the one he used on himself, he managed to save his brain. So far from my understanding, that wasn't possible in my experiments. I could stop the body. However, the brain, neuroactivity, it's always gone. However, he managed to save himself while he was still alive. He was able to preserve himself. And I believe that if anyone was infected with his version of the cure, they might still be mentally sound. So, that could be good, but I'm not too sure. Meanwhile, my experiments try to focus on restoring the body. I mean, we had two different pathways, but we seem to have collided with our own research. Listen, this cure might prevent you from turning. Now, they could just stare at it, and he does get to look down. That's it. Are you sure? I don't know. Listen, it could be that if I give you this and you take it, you might have what happened to David happen to you. Your body could start breaking down. It could be as if you used your ability. I'm sorry, I just my research has hit dead end after dead end. I can't figure this out. I just I need to go over some of the samples of your blood. If I can do that, then I can start to work with David Shield. And maybe even Melissa. She is actually fairly knowledgeable on the subject. She's explained to me a few things and it's given me a few more theories, but I I can't do it. I promised her I wouldn't do it anymore. You wouldn't do what? Are you talking about experimenting on her? I told you. I didn't plan to do it anymore. I can't. I promised her. I just okay. Trizuki, right? Yeah, Trizuki. Listen, I'm not gonna pretend like I understand what you're going through. I'm not gonna pretend like I know what you're doing. Right now, I need to save my girlfriend. This thing, whatever it did to us, it's threatening to murder the mother of my child. Now, Shizuki is gonna freeze. As Deku, he does look a bit sad. Listen, I I need to fix my mistake. I'm responsible for this thing doing this. She's gotten worse in the last 2 years. And I don't want her to die. Especially not now. If she dies, I think I'll actually lose it. I mean, I've put down everybody close to me in my life. And the little comfort I have left in this world is her. And the moment I learned I was going to be a dad, I just. I, I just. I honestly just couldn't believe it. I mean, my dad wasn't really there for me. And right now, I'm not too sure if I might be there for them. However, for different reasons. I just think that if I go down there, try to fix this, if I can set off that bomb, if I get out of there, I might survive. It's a risk I'm willing to take. And right now, I need to do this. Now, Shizuki is somewhat surprised. So, this is a lot that's about to happen. Listen, kid. I'm not going to pretend like I understand what you're doing. But just be careful, okay? Listen, I'm a doctor myself. If your girlfriend takes a turn for the worst, I can try to help out. I know a lot about human biology. I also know a lot about how to, well, solve some problems. Now, Deku's confused. However, he does somewhat understand what Shizuki means. Shizuki is saying if she does take a turn for the worst, he might be able to help her out. However, Deku doesn't know what that means. Does he mean save her from turning? Going infected? Or, well, stop the voices? Maybe save her life? Or does he mean he'll be the one who puts her down? Now, Deku is going to turn and walk away. And Shizuki, he does want to call out for Deku, asking him to stop. Now, there actually is Kirishima, who he is walking next to Deku, ask him if he really does intend to come to the hospital. Does he really intend to join them? Yeah, whatever. Listen, I'll be there soon. Just be ready to expect me. Now, Deku is going to get into a car. as whenever he does at least clear his mind and try to catch his breath. Okay. 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 Now, Deku's radio does start to go off. As whenever he does go reach down for it, he does grab onto it, and Momo is on the other line. Ask him what's going on. Momo, listen, I don't know where to start with this. Just take your time. Listen, I'm out in the hallway right now. What's going on? The guy said that you were gonna try and do something stupid, strange, or just insane. What are you doing? Listen, it's my fault this is all happening. I'm gonna go try and set off that bomb. I I might be able to get out of there if I can. My plan's to try and use the fuel trucks, set them up, and light it up. My original plan. But what about if you die? What if it catches you? Momo, listen to me. Kendo's pregnant. Now, Momo, her eyes widen, and right now she's gonna bring her hand up to her face. Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh my god. Yeah. Take care of her. If I don't come back, can you give her a message for me? Yeah. Yeah, I can. What do you want to tell her? Now, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.